Hi, my name is Rabbi Dunner. Welcome to my Erev Shabbos to our Torah this week for Parshat Emor. At the end of Parshat Emor, we read a startling story about the Makalel, the blasphemer. It's really quite a crazy story. This guy suddenly lost his temper and flew into a rage. And do you know what he did? He cursed Hashem. Now, it would make no sense if it was one of us who did it, right? But this fellow wasn't one of us living in the 21st century. This man was from the generation that received the Torah at Mount Sinai. How is it possible that such a person cursed Hashem? The Torah is a little bit vague on this topic. Vayetze ben isha Yisraelis v'hu ben ish Mitzri b'soich b'nei Yisrael vayinatzu b'machne. And the son of an Israelite woman went out. He was also the son of an Egyptian man among the children of Israel, and they fought in the camp. Vayikov ben ha'isha Yisraelis es Hashem vayikalel vayaviu Yisrael Moshe. The son of the Israelite woman pronounced the name of Hashem and he blasphemed. So they brought him to Moshe. Now, after Moshe consulted with Hashem, with God, the blasphemer was given the death penalty. And that's really the end of the story. But there's a huge chunk of the story that's missing. The Torah doesn't tell us what the fight was about. Why was the blasphemer fighting? Who was he fighting with? What caused him to be so angry that he blasphemed? And what is the connection between the blasphemer and the piece that comes before the story that describes the laws of the lechem haponim, the showbread that went on the shulchan, the special table in the Mishkan sanctuary? The Medrash fills in the gaps. Every Friday, 12 large loaves of showbread were baked, and then they were placed on the shulchan on Shabbos, at which point the previous week's loaves were removed and divided up among the kohanim, the priests, to be eaten. The blasphemer was very angry that this special bread was baked only once a week, and he didn't keep his opinion to himself. Imagine, he told everyone, a flesh and blood king normally insists on fresh bread every day. If they serve the king day-old bread, he would be so angry. But God only gets fresh bread once a week, and then it's left to go stale until the following week. How disgusting. One of the people he said this to got very upset and told him off for speaking so disrespectfully. So the blasphemer slapped him around the face. The other guy defended himself and punched him back. Suddenly there was a massive fight, and then the blasphemer was so angry that he cursed Hashem. That's what the Medrash says. It's a crazy story, right? The two came to blows, whereupon the son of the Israelite woman uttered a curse. But something isn't quite right. If the guy who ended up blaspheming was so indignant about God's honor, if he was so sensitive about Hashem not having stale bread, then how is it possible that he cursed Hashem? How does it make any sense? Let me tell you a story that happened in Nei Yisrael Yeshiva in Baltimore. I heard it from Rabbi Yisachar Frand. Quite regularly, people would drop off boxes full of books and svarim at the yeshiva. These were usually from the library of someone who died, and the family didn't know what to do with the Jewish books, so they donated them to the yeshiva. One time, among the books that were dropped off, the yeshiva boys found a set of Heinrich Gretz's History of the Jews. One of the boys became very angry. Gretz was an apikoros, a heretic, he told the other boys. We can't allow such books to exist. And he promptly took the books outside and burnt them. Someone told Rabbi Dunner, Zichron Livrocha, the Rosh Yeshiva, about what had happened. And he called the boy into his office and told him to pack up and leave the yeshiva for good. The expulsion of the boy caused an absolute uproar. Everyone agreed that the boy had been a little bit extreme for burning the books. After all, he should have consulted the Rosh Yeshiva first. But even so, many of the boys felt that the punishment was too harsh. It's not as if he'd burnt a Sefer Torah. But Rabbi Dunner explained himself. This is what he said. I'm telling you that one day this boy will not be a Shomer Shabbos. This boy is going to eat treif. He is headed in the wrong direction. Such a boy can't be in the yeshiva. The other boys, when they heard this, they were shocked. What are you talking about? How can you say that? Rav Ruderman smiled. I'll explain, he said. That boy is too extreme. He went totally overboard about an issue which really didn't deserve that kind of treatment. Unrestrained extremism is very dangerous. It cannot be compartmentalized. And one day, that extremism will lead him to be anti-religious. It's inevitable. According to Rabbi Frand, that boy, who went to other yeshivas after leaving Israel, eventually became completely irreligious, just as the Rosh Hashiva had predicted. And that story explains what happened with the blasphemer. The showbread actually never went stale. It remained fresh the whole week. It was one of the many miracles. There were many miracles in the Mishkan. That was just one of them. The blasphemer was being totally ridiculous to insist that the bread needed to be baked fresh every day. It was unrestrained, uncalled for extremism. But actually, he was just an extremist. And the moment he was challenged, that extremist streak led him to curse Hashem. And that's the thing. Often, people try to disguise their faults by outwardly putting on an exaggerated display of indignation about something they've seen or that they've heard. This story of the blasphemer is in the Torah to teach us that when someone is too extreme, it can go both ways, and ultimately it can lead you down the wrong path. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for watching. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.